Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's program for the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley, where each week we bring you an inspirational and engaging program focused on innovation, entrepreneurship, education, and humanitarian service. My name is Cviatko Shirua, and I am a director with this club. This week we have a very exciting program for you. We actually have 5 speakers, so really looking forward to that. The speaker that the organization that we're going to be hearing about this week is based in Belize, and it's called the Community Restore. I'll tell you just a bit more about it before we begin the presentation. But before that, I just wanted to acknowledge one of our members on this call. We have Monique, who's a librarian. Hi, Monique, based in the Silicon Valley. And with that, let me just tell you a bit more about the Community Restore. The organization works to restore value in students, families, and community, including reading intervention and family and individual counseling. Their program provides opportunities for high school and college students to serve, along with an adult literacy program. And we'll hear a lot more about what they do in today's presentation. And with that, I just want to acknowledge our 5 speakers on this call. So we'll hear from Shelley, we'll hear from Natasha, Elmer, Ron, and Ramon. And I will just pass it on to Shelley, who will go through some introductions. So Shelley, take it away.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's nice to be able to join you. I am Shelley Falk, and I'm the president of the Corozal Rotary Club. And if you could do us a favor and pass our best on to Mitty, we met him at the last project fair and very much enjoyed seeing him. So please give him our best. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Natasha so she can introduce herself to you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Natasha Bhavani. I'm going to be speaking about the scholarship programs in just a bit. I'll pass it over to Ron Zerlinden.
Hello, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Ron Zerlinden. I serve as the secretary for the Rotary Club of Corozal, and I'll talk about our really exciting technology in the schools program.
Hi guys, my name is Elmer. I'm a web application developer by trade, and I am also a member of the Rotary Club, where I serve as director of club services.
Again, good morning, good evening, good night. I'm Ramon Hernandez, and I'm going to be closing with telling the story of Community Restore to just kind of clarify the amazing work that's been done here.
So I will jump back in, and I'm going to give you a little background about our club so that you have a feel for who we are and what our little tiny club in Corozal, Belize does and how effective we are. We are a club of 26 members. We had 9 members in 2013, and we are steadily growing by 30% every single year. And our mission is to enhance the educational opportunities for elementary age students. Programs all center on education, like the recently completed toilet and hand washing facility at Concepcion Elementary School that was discussed during the recent project fair, and Mitty actually got a chance to see what we've done in this project that we just finished. We're also participating in active programs that include wheelchair distribution, bedtime stories, and park renovations. We recently, about a year and a half ago, started a Rotary Club. It was sponsored by our club, and we have a very good working relationship with the members of that club. And in fact, you just got to meet Elmer. He is one of the members from that particular club. So I want to encourage you to understand that for a small club, we really, really know how to get a lot of things done. We've got 3 areas that we're going to focus on giving you information about today. One of them is our scholarship program. Another is the technology education program, and the third is that Community Restore program. These programs all tackle different challenges for the educational experience in Corozal, and together these programs all help the schools to make a huge leap in helping the kids grow and go forward. With the scholarship program, we want you just to understand what it is. It is our flagship program, and we're extremely proud of it. We've been helping with this for over, 40 years, started in the 70s. has been very, very successful. We're basically on this part of the presentation just looking for club-to-club donations or Friends of Rotary donations to keep this program expanding. As such, it's not going to be any part of the 2 global grants that we're going to be discussing in this presentation. But as I said, we started in the 70s. We have over 500 scholarships that we've awarded, and they're approximately $250 US each. The success stories are numerous. We could go into that and do a whole presentation, but that's not what we're here for today. The technology education program is the next step in the evolution of ensuring that technology is the building block in our Corozal schools. They began several years ago when we were able to get donated laptop computers, and we went into schools with 5 at a time into 39 schools each and donated 5 laptops to each of these schools. Some of it's been very effective and some not. We have to be honest about that. This is what we're going to be talking about in this program today and our vision to improve that. Community Restore program is the final step in the education experience. This program includes a partnership organization that's already established and operating very well with an after-school program, and it's not unlike the Boys and Girls Clubs that are in the United States. It includes, the ideas are including renovation of a facility, a training program for volunteers, technology, mentors, and all the areas that help the kids stay in school and eventually become one of the actual mentors that comes back and helps. And this program will be a global grant number 2, and we believe $50,000 US is a good target. At this point, I'm going to turn this part of it over to Natasha, Dr. Natasha, for you to understand about scholarships.
Good afternoon. The scholarship program is our flagship program. It's been here since 1978. In 2017 school year, we gave out 26 scholarships. 15 were to returning students and 11 to new students. Our goal is to have an ever-increasing scholarship program. This year, we're aiming for 35. It works. We have so many success stories. The problem, in Belize, our primary school is paid for by the government. However, high school is not. Due to this, 35 to 40% of students don't go to secondary school. The minimum wage here in Belize is $3.30 Belize, which works out to be approximately $1.65 US for the hour. The tuition cost for high school is 500 Belize dollars. That's not including the supplemental fees, any lab fees, books, etc. that might come up throughout the year. For this reason, many families are not able to send all their children to secondary school. They usually send the elder sibling or the first one that they can financially send to school. How does it work? Rotary announces every year about the scholarship opportunities through the Ministry of Education, through the radio stations, and word of mouth. Scholarships are awarded to students based on grades, teacher recommendations, and their personal essay. As much as we would just like to emphasize good grades, we do take a look at their personal essays and take that into consideration. On the bottom of the screen, there's 2 of our scholarship recipients. On the left-hand side, posing with her bicycle, is Ziani Moore. She has been in our scholarship program for 2 years now. Her parents separated when she was much younger. Her father sends weekly maintenance of $40 Belize for the 3 children in the house. Her mom owns a snack shop. Due to the lack of finances, the elder brother was sent away to the grandparents because they couldn't afford to have 3 kids in the house. We put her in our scholarship program, and in the first year, her GPA was at 3.77. On the right-hand side, we have Lenore Rosado. She is also one of 3 children. She comes from a single-income family. Her mom is a housewife, and her dad is a cab driver. The eldest sister was lucky enough to go to high school with the intention that when she graduates, she would get a job and help to support the other 2 siblings also going through high school. However, the first year after getting a job, she got pregnant. The father left her, and she was alone with the kid. This increased the expenses back home, and the other 2 younger siblings were not able to attend secondary school. We did give Lenore the scholarship, and in her first year, she got a 4.0 GPA. These are just a couple of our worthy candidates. For more information about our scholarship program, please feel free to ask about it in our question and answer session. I'm going to pass over the presentation to Ron Zerlinden.
All right, thanks Natasha. My name is Ron Zerlinden, and I'm going to introduce our first global grant pursuit. Actually, this is the first global grant we pursued here in Corozal, but so we've been doing a lot of advanced work in understanding global grants, but I'm just going to introduce what it is, and then I'll hand it over to Elmer give you some more of the details. But really our goal for the technology education program is to prepare the students for secondary education and further advance. In developing countries like Belize is extremely important. We've identified 2 tactics that we're going to use for this program, and the first is a field survey to understand how well our computer or laptop distribution went and where those areas of concern are and areas of improvement. Essentially a needs evaluation of the laptops have already been distributed. The second part is our vision is to develop 4 elementary schools near Corozal, and each one will be a model for how technology can be employed to help the educational experience. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Elmo Queets, and Elmo's going to give you a little bit more detail on what this vision looks like.
Hi guys, Elmer here. So I'm going to talk about basically the truth. What is the current situation in regards to our education program in Corozal? The access to education not only in Corozal but all of Belize has always been an issue, right? Whereby students are not be able to afford or travel far distances for them to improve their education. So the truth is that there's a demand for the literacy in technology, and what that leads eventually is most entry-level jobs require some form of education training. If you're a cashier, you need to use a computer. Simple jobs require nowadays computer experience. So also as the digital age grows, right, so also does income disparities, meaning that some people might have more advantage than others, meaning by they have more resources than others. So the ones that have less access to resources have struggling improving themselves. So what Rotary can do to help is to continue this education for students is it will help them securing high paying jobs and in general increasing their standard of living. What has happened so far? 5 years ago or 3 years ago, Rotary had this program where they distributed computers to 39 primary schools. What happened is, the reality is not all of them were being used effective. So we have been working with a new plan, a brand new, better plan to improve what has already been done. So first step is, as Ron mentioned, it's a 2-phase project where we will be having a comprehensive assessment of the computers that we have already distributed, and be better prepared how to move on. So this is where also we could extend an invitation of help to you guys, having expertise in this area of technology. I'm a software developer by trade, so I know some, I don't know everything. So it would be great, to have people of your expertise, to work along with us. Our vision, how to move on from now, we have a preliminary plan to, establish computer centers. Ron mentioned 4. It's not an exact number, but we're trying to establish model centers for Corozal district where we can, enable the kids that really need it most to have a fighting chance to improve their standard of living generally. So, right. So this is an example of or a sample of what a computer center would be. Make sure providing young people with access to curriculum, to state-of-the-art technology. Computer centers will have proper security, wiring, ventilation, and lighting, meaning the right adequate environment for these computers. All the equipment will be purchased in the country to secure the lowest cost and also contributing to the local economy. A sample of a computer center would house anywhere between 12 to 20 brand new PCs or laptops. Also, very important for you is a training program. What happens is that much of the instructors or teachers are not properly trained in this area. So that's also an issue that our assessment has given us so far. Yeah, so that's gonna wrap it off for technology, our technological educational program, and you will have Mr. Ramon speaking to you now.
All right, here we go. Well, let me introduce you to the Community Restore story. We work with about 100 kids from families, different families weekly, with an average of about 65 to 80 kids daily. We have an after-school program that runs 4 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and then from there we break down into what is a smaller group, like six students and less, more like intensive tutoring. And then what I feel is like one of the stars of our program, excuse me, one of the stars of our program is when we do an intensive reading intervention program. There we take students that have been, they're actually about 4 levels behind. So we literally have, like in the US, a 5th grader or a 4th grader that really doesn't even know how to recognize their vowels. What happens in the Belize culture is that where in the US we call it the squeaky wheel gets the grease. In Belize it goes the opposite. When a child seems to be falling behind, the tactic they often use is that they get quiet and they become this model student. And so when you have a child that's very, very kind and very very well behaved, it's very hard to fail them in a small community, especially when parents and teachers, they coexist together and they see each other very often. So we are completely staffed by volunteers. At the front of it is Miss Lorraine, and she is a retired police officer and a retired teacher. So I like to say she can arrest you and teach you at the same time. So she's I call her the matriarch of this, but under her volunteers that come from retired school teachers, Belizean school teachers. We have college students, high school students, U.S. retirees, and parents from the community. They come in. Often you go into the community center when we're not having classes, and you'll see them washing the windows, sweeping the floors, straightening the books. So this community center really is built upon community. So we have an education initiative that when we are teaching students how to read, we also have a counseling program that goes along with it. And it's so important that when we talk about community restore, we're not just restoring education, but we're restoring value to people. Let me ask you to join me in a couple of stories, actually 3 stories of success. We have many, but I think these go a long way. In the first one, the slide you're looking at, it's called When an F Goes from Failure to Finding Success. This is Efrain's story. So Efrain is one of those kids that would show up every day with his bike, and I mean he's there at the very beginning. And my wife, she's not a retired teacher, she's a teacher by trade, and so she does what's called the intensive literacy program. She goes into a room, and it's usually 1 or 2 students, and she really starts teaching them how to read and just get the basics. Efrain could not name you the vowels when we started this program. It was just shocking that we asked him what are the vowels, and he could name 2. I think it was A and E. And so this is his story. He went from being an F student, all his grades are failing grades in his report card. Then after the first, we call it, there's terms. In the second term, but actually the first term after the summer, he became basically a C student, passed all his grades, and I've never seen anybody jump with so much happiness that they are now passing. This last term that just passed, he became an A and B student, and I'm going to see if this audio works. As you can see, that was Efrain reading, and this is a child that came to us this summer that could not name all his vowels. And that's what happens when you really instill value into people and when you really show them that you believe in them. The next story I want to share with you is actually two people, and it's part of our adult reading program. Something I really didn't understand is that when you don't know how to read as an adult, you really feel trapped wherever you go, and you only see the world through pictures. So whenever you see writing, it is probably the most intimidating thing that you can encounter. Liz Beth, who is on your left right there at the entrance, she tells us this story, and I was like, I was heartbroken. In 5th grade, she was in school, and now, mind you, she had her dad was, I believe he was killed actually when she was around that age. And so her mom went to work at the casino. And so therefore there was not, actually that was about 2 years back. So her education fell backwards. And one day in 5th grade, she was told by her peers that she was the dumbest kid in the entire school. And she went crying home that day and said she would never return to school. So she heard about our program, and she knew it was for kids. She's 19 now. And so she came and she said, is there an opportunity for me to even join the kids? And we decided, you know what, we can do adult literacy, because we also had Efrain on the right there, who also came to us and also heard about what we were doing with the kids. And he said, look, he kind of stuck out his two hands and he said, look, I have a lot of dreams in these hands. I don't know what you can do. And we're like, you know what, we're going to take those hands and we're going to do some great things with it. So both of them are now readers in our program. And so we also believe in teaching young people, but we also believe in not letting the ones that got through the system not have a second chance. Our third story is what I call when a learning disability becomes a teaching ability, empowering students with disabilities. It's so important that we never write anyone off. And so Jesus's story is this. He is actually going to, I guess it would be equivalent of junior college, as we call it, IT vet, right here locally. And he actually had a pretty severe disability, but he is one of the hard-working people. And he came in and he said, I heard that y'all are doing this program with these kids, this reading program. And he said, will you let me help? And so we're like, yes. And so, of course, he did tell us, he's like, I have a learning disability, so I won't be able to help you with everything. Right here in these pictures, we were playing a game of war where, you drop a card, the other person drops a card, and it's like we give the students about 3 seconds, and whoever adds it first wins the cards. And so he started doing this, and then he became that kid that really understood how to teach, because he had so many obstacles on the way up. So that's when I look at someone as like, his disability became such an ability for us, because when kids are in the center and they feel like they're not getting it, he completely understands them. And for that's what makes our center unique, is that we give everyone a chance. We repurpose people. Liz Beth, the lady in the previous slide, she comes in and volunteers for us too. And so we completely say, you know what, you're going to learn to read, you're going to learn to be a better student, but you're also going to learn how to give back at the same time. Here's where, as I get to the finale of this, I want to tell you that we want to turn this 40-page book that we're writing into a never-ending story. And this is how I believe that hopefully you can partner with us. We would like to expand our space to accommodate more students to help meet the community needs. Right now, we're in a very limited space facility. It's about 400 square feet, and it gets super crowded. We'd like to create a computer training facility for students and adults in the community to teach computer literacy and increase their job skills. We'd like to hire a volunteer coordinator to train to establish the commonality and procedures for building capacity in future operations. We'd like to hire a teacher to develop curriculum and train the students in their growth process, track it so that we can establish timelines and how everybody's progressing. Yes, we do need computers. We need books. We need materials. This center is completely funded, with the limited economic engine in Corozal. So sometimes we get donated a ream of paper. Sometimes we get donated a can of mayonnaise so that we can give sandwiches to the kids after class. I believe that in Community Restore, we're writing an incredible, just a book on success. And for us, I feel like if we can partner together, y'all can become someone who writes one of the most important chapters in it. If you have any questions, please ask. We are doing an incredible work, and we'd like you to join us.
So we're going to basically close up for you right now. I want you to understand how everything is a wheel that fits together in all three things. The ability to have the children have the scholarships to go further is huge. And again, we're just looking for people that want to be club to club or people that want to be friends of Rotary to help us with that. The technology that we're trying to develop with the technology labs in 4 to 5 training or pilot schools to get that rolling the correct way is so key for these children to be able to expand themselves. But it's also very important to understand how Community Restore works, because they're catching the ones that aren't helped. They're catching the kids at the end of the day that aren't helped and making a huge difference. So we just want to say thank you so much. We really want you to be a partner with us on this. We've got so many ideas that we would like to share with you if you decide you want to be partners with us. And we're looking for global grant help on 2 initiatives, on the computer technology area and on Community Restore. So that's kind of where we're going on global grants, and hopefully you'll see the value and the need to work with us. That's us.
All right. Wow, guys, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I appreciate how you did tie everything together: the scholarship, the technology education, then the community project, the Community Restore project as well.
Right.
And thank you for sharing those stories of some of the students that have gone through your programs. I think this makes it so much more real than just talking about a different program. But when you share these stories and how life-changing it really your efforts have been for some of these people in the community there, it makes it so real. So thank you for that, for your leadership on this. All right, so I do have a couple of questions. I know we're running a little bit short on time, so let me just dive right in. So you, about the scholarship program, you did mention that people or students learn about it through the Ministry of Education and other sorts of ways. Now, do you have a partnership with the Ministry of Education over there in Belize?
We do not. They do not partner on this with us. We pretty much do it on our own.
But they partner with the toilet.
But they did toilet on the toilet project that we did with the Sustainable Toilet Project. They did partner on that with us, which Mitty got to see that. But on the scholarships, they do not. And I can bring Natasha in if you want. But they do not. We do this very much individually and been sustaining it ourselves through donations and different individuals that just want to make a difference for the kids.
Yeah. And are there other sources of scholarships for? So you mentioned there's what was it, 35 to 40% of children in the country do not end up going to high school because the cost is prohibitive. Now,
Correct.
That seems like crazy high percentage. Are there other sources of scholarships other than just the private sources that are available?
They have other areas that do offer scholarships. I think to understand Corozal District, we've had a tremendous layoff of labor because of the papaya industry pulling out, and some other things have gone on with the caning industry. So the job availability is really limited, and that's what causes the problem for the kids to be able to go to school. If there's more than one in a family that wants to go on to school, the money's not there. So that's why we, and you understand this as Rotarians, we jump in and say, hey, how can we help? We do. We just pick up the gauntlet and go. So
yeah. Well, thank you.
We're excited. We had 26 scholarships this last year that we provided. Our goal this year is 30. I think Natasha was talking about that. And again, we know this is not a global grant issue. We're just looking for club to club or Rotarians that are friends of Rotarians that want to help with it. That makes a huge difference to these families, to these kids. And they come back and they tell us their stories and they show us how their jobs are affected. We have a doctor here in town, and Dr. Einstein is a doctor with a major disability. He was one of our very first recipients of our wheelchairs, and then he was able to go on and have our scholarships, go on, get educated. He's a doctor now and has come back and he's working in the community with everybody. Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know, and that's just one story. I'm telling you.
I do have another couple of questions, but I want to give Monique an opportunity to ask a question as well if she has one. Monique?
Yeah, a quick question. Even in the Silicon Valley, we have a challenge sometimes maintaining our public computers or the school computers that or the laptops, updating them, making sure they're all working. Are you partnering with anybody to train people in how to maintain the technology, or has that been a challenge for you?
Well, up to this point, when we put the computers in the schools, we did a very bad job of this. And I'm telling you very honestly, we thought we were doing a great job by getting the computers, putting them in the schools, and believing the teachers had the technology themselves to expand. That's why we brought Elmo on, because he is our technology person, and he's very quiet spoken about it, but he knows very much about this, and he's the one that's going to go out to see the schools, look at the computers, see if they're in working condition, what can we do to replace them, and then go in and work with the teacher in the school itself and make sure that their skill sets for the computer training is up to speed. And I just personally went over, Mitty knows these folks, and possibly you do too. Carolyn Johnson is from Rotary International. She's been with us the last couple of days and just left to go back to the States. She knows Mitty real well, and she and I went over to the education office yesterday, and we talked with the education officer there, and she said if we could start with 4 or 5 schools and get kind of a pilot thing going, it can expand, but we want to make sure that it really works efficiently this time. We said that's exactly why we're sitting in front of you. We want this to work. We want this to be a success. And that's why we're talking to you, because you all know about computers more than we would know. So we need you to be the boots on the ground, and we want you to come see us and stay down here in this beautiful Belize tropical weather.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the invite. I do have one question I want to ask before we start wrapping things up here. So do you see some of your graduates of your programs return as volunteers or as tutors, especially in the Community Restore program?
They do, and I'll let Ramon address that for you here.
Yes, we do. We've got 2 students that came in. Actually, we have 2 students that came in for family and grief counseling, and now they're actually our volunteers. And it's great to see how people continuously flip the page and say, you know what, I've got so much purpose left in me. And let me tell you, one thing I didn't say is we accomplish all this with a 0.5 meg connection, 1 computer, and 1 printer. So
you guys are heroes.
0.5, we're like a rocket ship here. 500 kbps. So
wow. Well done. Well done.
Where you could go.
Yeah. I do want to try and wrap this up. Thank you again for sharing this this great story with us, and again touching on all the different focus areas that you have, and especially for sharing the stories, the real stories of people's lives that you have touched in such a major way. I think there will be, I imagine there will be a pretty lively discussion in the discussion board of our website once we feature this program. So I do encourage you to come back during that week and hear from our members as well. But I do want to wrap things up here, and I will I'll give you an opportunity for a final word. But with that, for all of our Rotarians and guests who have been with us this week, we hope that you enjoyed this program. Please remember to fill out the attendance survey below. And also don't forget to leave a comment in the discuss section at the bottom of this page. Ask our speakers a question, or just give us a comment, tell us what you thought about this presentation, or if you have any suggestions or any ideas on how you and your club or our club can help engage in those initiatives as well. So with that, I will give it back to Shelley for some final remarks.
We just all want to thank you so much for your time. it's people like yourself and the clubs that are surrounding you in your area that can touch lives here that you may never see, and you'll make a huge difference. So thanks.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a good week.